Have you ever heard of this prophecy called the 3 days of darkness? You might have heard of it in passing, or maybe you've absolutely tuned into information about it. I wanted to get into this today and give you my perspective and kind of tell you where we are in the course of things. I'm Michelle Morrison. I'm a medium and an intuitive. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for helping me to grow this community, to bring us closer together, and subscribing to my channel, subscribing to this message so that we can continue exploring and moving through this journey together. We are so much better together than we are on our own. And so I'm really grateful to have you here. I've been having this feeling and I have been wanting to speak to you about this energy because right now we're really living in a time of massive shifts and changes. And not only have we been experiencing big shifts and changes, but there are so many more to come. Oh, wait till we get into 2026. And so, with all of these changes comes a certain amount of uncertainty and things that we may fear or worry about or think like, what's going to happen. uh, we're all going, to hell in a handbasket, the sky is falling, this kind of energy. And the shifts are never here to destroy us, first and foremost. They are here to activate, awaken, and align us. And so I don't see them at all as anything negative, even though, just like you, I absolutely will see things and I'll be like, they'll absolutely kind of surprise me or just be like, wow, that's something, kind of energy, and that's okay. So, I wanted to share with you that a few weeks ago, I was in my kitchen, minding my own business, doing my thing, cooking away. And I was in my pantry looking for a spice, and I just had this wave wash over me with a fair amount of intensity, I'll say. And it came with a feeling of foreboding. And I just had this like kind of foreboding feeling. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, didn't feel incredibly great. And I took time to sit down and to kind of address it and look at it a little bit deeper. It did come during a time, I should say this, that it did come during a time of like huge, massive solar flares, like a solar storm. And we know that when that comes and hits us, that it can create a little bit of turbulence, and it can absolutely bring fears to the surface. That's what it does. It brings stuff to the surface so that it may be addressed and seen and heard and healed. And so that's kind of what was going on when it happened. And I will also say that as a sensitive being, quite often we have this ability to tune into things prior to them happening. And so we might like feel like the phone is going to ring and then it does, or feel like you're going to hear from a friend and then you do, that kind of thing. And so that's very typical behavior for sensitives. And if you're a sensitive, I'd love to hear what it is that you do, that you tune into before it happens, because I'm sure it happens to you more often than not. But it isn't always, the energy isn't always so much a prediction as it is a perception. We want to kind of differentiate between that. When you get a feeling of a friend is, you're going to hear from a friend or run into a friend that day, and you do, it's typically a fairly happy thing. And so it's a different vibrational frequency than having like a wave of that foreboding feeling. One of the things that I like to do first is ask, is this mine? Does this belong to me? And in this particular case, when I asked, it absolutely didn't belong to me. So I was picking up on energy that was coming from outside of me. And so what I believe and understand is that I was picking on maybe some collective fear that was just absolutely moving through the world with this little wave of solar energy. And so, what is important to remember is that we're not meant to fear what we feel. We're meant to interpret it. And what I mean by that is taking time to, sift through that, to go a little bit deeper into it, to understand it kind of on a little bit of a deeper level is really, really helpful so that you are getting the truth of the information as opposed to just that little wave of fear that is flowing through you that you're able to pick up on. So, on this note, I wanted to speak about the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness. And the reason is because when I had that feeling, it was like seeing the world in a little bit of darkness, like lights out, like the electric grid out kind of thing. And like for a flash of a second, it was like, should I stock up on toilet paper? Like, what should I be doing? Should I get some more cans? Like, what? And then it dissipated as soon as it came. And so I really think that I was tuning into the energy outside of me and fears that others may be having in the world right now, and that this was an intuitive message that was showing me this is kind of how people might be feeling, or a certain percentage of people might be feeling this. The prophecy of the 3 days of darkness is not new to me, and likely it's not new to you either. You may very well have heard of this in passing, or maybe you have absolutely tuned into a message about it. You've heard other people say, and they predict, oh, it's going to happen at this time, and then that time comes and goes and nothing happens. And so I haven't really ever put much merit on it. But I wanted to share I do absolutely feel there's something here, and I wanted to share what my perspective is on this. I don't at all feel like the entire world could be plunged into darkness. I don't feel or see that at all. I absolutely believe that it is entirely possible, and I can see parts of the world having difficulty with electricity. And maybe that is because of a solar flare or storm, or maybe it is because of some other reason. But I could absolutely see parts of the world having trouble. And in that, there may be interruptions in our ability to connect by, through the internet. And it can also possibly affect some global systems. And so I feel like it's for a short period of time, not a permanent period of time. And so this is absolutely something that I see for sure. Where in the world? I think that it feels, to me at least, a little bit sporadic, and not like located all in one area. I feel like it could be in multiple areas at the same time. And that's what I mean by sporadic. I don't see this at all as being a punishment, and I don't see it at all as being permanent. It's just simply a pause. And within the stillness of this, so if you think about, for example, when we went through COVID, how still the world was in those first few days when we were told to stay home. This is a whole nother conversation. I'm not meaning to have this one today, but in that stillness, how there was a little bit of a shift in the world, or kind of a big shift in the world. It's in the stillness that new light is able to emerge. And however it is that you feel about COVID, it was certainly an awakening on a level. And what I love about awakenings and things that cause us to awaken is that we begin asking questions. We begin to question the narrative. We begin to question the story that we've been fed all of our lives. We begin to question why we are here and what this is all about and what is actually really happening. And in that questioning, we give space for our divinity to speak. And that is what I see happening with this potential reset, is that, think about your own life in this way. Every challenge that you have faced has awakened something within you. Every challenge that you have overcome, that you have risen up through, has given birth to some new part of you. It has ignited some new part of you. It has activated a part of you. It has given you more resilience. It has brought forward more of your beautiful characteristics and qualities. It's brought forward parts of you that you didn't even know existed within you. It is absolutely amazing what we are capable of when challenged, and how we can absolutely rise up through those challenges to be into the best parts of ourselves. And so we can't awaken to the new light that is coming unless we stop fearing the absence of it. So when we are so focused on the darkness in the world and all of the things that you consider are just horrendous and going wrong, and all the ways that there is so much wrong with our world, when we focus on that, we can't give space to the light that can be born, that can awaken us. And so sometimes we need like something to say, sit your ass down, tune in inward. Let's remove some of the technology, and let's remove some of the overstimulation so that you can tune into the inner parts of your being. And so in this way, I see this as being such a beautiful thing and a beautiful opportunity. The other thing that I will say that I see in this is people helping people and people supporting people. I really think that this is a huge possibility and outcome of this occurrence, and that it's not something that we need to fear. It's in fact something that we could instead embrace. Spirit will say to you, and they say this to me all the time, it is never as scary as you think. It never turns out as scary as you think. Listen, our imaginations are something. They are incredible, but they can also imagine the worst, the apocalypse, the ending, the doomsday. And they have an ability to take you there over, and instead of the possibility and the creation that can come from being challenged. And so the fear in you will always imagine the collapse of the world, and the spirit or the soul in you will always imagine the creation of. And this is where we need to spend our focus. And this is where we need to come back to that place of remembering and knowing it is never as scary as you think. It never turns out as bad as you think. And even in moments and times of challenge in your life, you have found ways to move through it. You have found ways, and you are still here and you are still standing. And you may be changed, but likely you are changed in ways that is awakening the best parts of you, or has maybe already awakened the best parts of you. Every spiritual dawn, every spiritual awakening, your spiritual awakening likely stemmed from a challenge or something dark in your life. because those challenges, those times in darkness absolutely serve as an activation for you. And I can think in times in my own life of where I have been challenged and where I have felt like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the way out is. Or feeling like really, really scared about what is coming next. And what the course of my life has taught me is that my imagination makes it much worse than the actual outcome ever has been. So think back to your own life and consider this for yourself. Can your imagination be worse than the actual outcome? And even through something that really challenged you, were you able to find some light, some higher purpose or calling within that? Chances are that's absolutely been true for you. And so this is what is happening on the earth right now. All of the challenges that we are experiencing, all of the things that we are seeing are awakening all of us. And we are in a phase of massive awakening on the planet. The week that I'm recording this message, there's massive awakening happening. Think about what it is that you're seeing in the world. Are you seeing more people asking questions? Are you seeing more people, doubting the narrative? Are you seeing more people going, it doesn't seem quite right to me? You absolutely are. You're doing it too. And this is you going, I'm not sure it's exactly the way they would have us believe it is. It's because it isn't. And the entire purpose of this awakening is to awaken you to your power, to your ability to create, and your ability to absolutely be the captain of your own ship, directing your life in a way that brings you so much meaning and purpose and has you be the literal hero of your own story. That is absolutely what is happening right now. You're bound for greatness. When the world feels like a lot and you need to recenter and you need to remember who you really are, there are a few things that I would just have you be reminded of and that you can try and that you can do to help recenter you and bring you back to a place where you are feeling less fear, more love, that you're remembering the truth of who you really are and just how powerful you really are. They're really, really simple, beautiful things to do. The first one is just simply to breathe. I love when you put your hand on your heart and you just simply breathe and just bring yourself back to presence, just using breath, just back to presence, and just taking time to slow down and tune in and to tell yourself that it's okay, that you are all right, that you are profoundly intuitive, and that you can decide and discern for yourself what is right for you and when you should be moving and when you should be sitting and when you should be still and when you should not worry, all of these things. So breathing and presence will always help you to do that. It is the first immediate step that will shift this for you. The second thing to do is make sure to simplify your input. We are so overstimulated. I know I talk about this a lot, but we are so overstimulated with news, with technology, with social media, just information coming at us all the time. And so stepping out of that and into your own inner presence, your own inner wisdom, is always going to bring you back down to earth, so to speak. It's going to help you to feel grounded and more connected to the highest parts of your being. Maybe a little bit more stillness. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's walking in nature. But anything at all that isn't necessarily go, 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 do, 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 and, taking in the information of others all the time. The last thing that I want to remind you of that is such a powerful place for you to be is keep creating. I love the mantra, when you are nervous, focus on service. And I love this so much because when we are in a place of fear or really worried about things that are beyond our control and outside of our influence, and things that we just know nothing about, that we are fearing, we have lost our connection to source. And one of the most beautiful ways to reconnect to your source energy is to focus on service. How are you being of help? How are you creating? What are you bringing forth in the world? What are you contributing? What is your impact? And your impact could be, drawing a little sketch. It could be, singing along to a favorite song. It could be making something that you just really love to eat or share with somebody else. It could be reading a book. It could be creating a puzzle. It could be playing a game with friends. Impact doesn't mean that you're talking about being famous or having a ton of followers or anything like that. It is your immediate impact in your surroundings, and that ripples out into your community, and it just ripples further and further than you know. So when you are allowing yourself to experience joy and do things for you that are joyful, and that you are deliberately choosing and creating, you are absolutely doing the right thing. So, 3 days of darkness, yeah, it's a story that's been around for the ages. I don't see it as the entire world going black and we are in some sort of apocalypse situation and now we need to somehow find an escape plan from the planet. It is just simply a reset opportunity for us and an awakening time for us, where we begin to question that narrative and we begin to start tuning into the possibility of our own incredible power, because it's so immense. If you understood a fraction of who you were, there would be so much less worry. There certainly would be way more harmony, and there would be way more love on the planet. And so this is the most important thing that you could do, is to tune into the wisdom and the divinity that is within. And within that, only beauty comes. I thank you so much for being with me and sharing this time with me today. I hope that this message brought you a little bit of peace and you a little bit of less worry, and that you are in your own way embracing the changes that are happening right now, as opposed to fearing them, and knowing that we are absolutely moving towards an era of so much more love and light. And that's because of you and the contribution that you are making now. Stay focused on that. Until next time, only love and light to you, and only love and light from you.